actually had a party one time at my house. And it was just an occasion to watch the Miss America pageant, and I did all the cooking, and everything that I served had cheese in it. Just because. Okay, so here is pretty much what it looks like, and honestly, I probably would have liked to let it go a little bit longer, but for our purpose, I think this is just fine. Did somebody say something back there?
He said, give us 2 slices of bread and we'll go to town.
Well, honey, if you'll hold on a few minutes, I'm going to give you some, okay? So, but let's think outside the box, okay? So, we've got some pimento cheese. What would be the most unusual way you've ever heard of someone using it, or that maybe you have had it?
Something like a dessert.
Something like a dessert.
Yeah, I would, yeah.
Did someone plan you to feed on
No,
what I'm doing here?
No. Honestly, no. That's what's going to get my mind. It sounds not.
Okay, so a dessert. I am going to prepare a dessert for you guys. I should have revealed that so quickly, but that's okay. I don't have to leave you lingering very long. Is there anything else before I talk about my desserts? As far as anything really just totally different? Well, there's a recipe that I became aware of as a child that was actually credited to Rosalind Carter, who is the wife of our former President Jimmy Carter. And it's called Plain Special Cheese Ring. And all it is grated cheese, mayonnaise, now where I come from we say pecans. I know a lot of people say pecans, pecans, and then some grated onion. And you mix it up and you serve it in a ring mold. And then when you serve it, in the center of your ring you use strawberry preserves, and you would use, say, Ritz crackers. And I've made that before. I think I had it at that Miss America party. And so I got to thinking, how could I make a dessert with pimento cheese? And I thought immediately of that cheese ring that I had. So basically, I had a recipe that was inspired by that recipe, and I call it Sweet Pea Sea Delight. The PC stands for pimento cheese. It does not stand for politically correct, because there's probably not a lot of things about this dish that would be politically correct. And I actually thought about the recipe for probably about a year. I thought about different things. What could I do? How would I make it? So finally, I just got in the kitchen and I just said, you know what, I'm just going to throw this out and try it. So what I've already done is I've prepared a Ritz cracker crust. And what I did is I took a sleeve of Ritz crackers that I crushed. I took a third of a cup of butter, a stick. And then I used 3 tablespoons of sugar, and just in a bowl I mixed it together. The butter was melted, and honestly I wanted to eat it right then and there. But what I did is I just pressed it into a 2-quart casserole that's anywhere between 8 and 9 inches in diameter. What I use at home is a glass dish, and I really like how that looks with this in, and I bake it for 10 minutes at 350 degrees. So being that I've already done that earlier, my next step, after I let the crust cool, is I take about 2.5 cups of pimento cheese, which I probably will have just enough right here. Now I'm going to go ahead and tell you, when you make this dessert, it's one of those things that you want to, as much as you can, press all your ingredients into each other. Because you really, want to have that separation of the different layers. And I just have a little splot that I did not need in my dish that's on the table. And I will leave it there. So you can see there that I've kind of pressed it to where it fills around all the edges. Okay. It occurred to me, I meant to ask this earlier. I asked you what are some ways that you would eat pimento cheese. What are some occasions that we might have ham and cheese. Every day for lunch. All right. I lived in Macon, Georgia for 7 years, and there used to be a restaurant there. I don't know if it's still up there or not. It was called Lindbergh's, and it was a diner, and they had a carry-out location on another side of town, and they offered, I'm not even sure what they called it, but basically what you got when you ordered this dish, you got a fried chicken breast, you got a half a spinach cheese sandwich, you got a deviled egg, you got a cup of potato salad and a pickle smear. And I guess really kind of what they were promoting was basically like a picnic in a box. And I used to get that on occasion. Sometimes the fried chicken breast, I think it was intended to be cold, but sometimes it's kind of warm. I mean, they just made it. So we could have it every day for lunch as a sandwich. What are other times that we might make certain men and cheese or have it?
Midnight snack.
Midnight snack?
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. What starts? What's that? A ball game? So what starts next week that we might want to serve men and cheese?
Football.
What kind of football?
College football.
College football. Okay. We're not going to talk about who's our favorite team. I respect whoever your favorite team is and just support them. That's all I'm going to tell you.
But Lawson is wearing red, so.
I'm wearing red, just saying. All right, so here we go. So we've got our second step. We've actually added the men and cheese to our dish. Now, if you remember, I told you in that cheese ring that we put strawberry preserves in the middle when we served it. So I'm going to use, this is an 18-ounce jar of Smucker's strawberry preserves. I think it would also be really good with raspberry preserves as well. But I've not tested that one. Again, I am careful to press these items. I think Shelly is handing out, I actually have some recipe cards, and I also have a card that has my website. I started blogging back in April as a means to kind of talk about my cookbook project I'm working on. And what I'm actually have been doing lately is I've actually been testing recipes for my cookbook. So part of what you'll be seeing if you follow me going forward is I'll probably be sharing recipes and or stories regarding what I'm actually testing. So here I have my preserves. And I'm going to take an 8-ounce container of, in this case it's going to be the Aldi brand Cool Whip, but it's going to be your favorite non-dairy whipped topping. I think in another scenario I might be inclined to actually whip my own whipped cream. I think that'd be really nice. But I think this makes it a little bit easier. I thought about calling this recipe a pimento cheesecake, but I didn't really want, to confuse it with a traditional cheesecake. I think if I probably worked on it, I could probably almost style it the same way that a cheesecake is. Pretty much ready to go in the fridge. I would probably say chill it for at least 2 hours, if not overnight if you can. And would you guys like to maybe try some? Maybe? I've actually got some samples. I've got some, if somebody could maybe grab those. I've got some little mini sandwiches, and I've also got two of those desserts that I've already made. So, does anybody have any questions? When's my cookbook coming out? Well, I don't know. Kind of the process that I'm in is that I was compiling recipes and kind of thinking about doing a cookbook and really didn't have any kind of direction and didn't really know what that should or shouldn't look like. I just kind of thought I'd write a book and try to find a publisher or someone that I would send it to and say, hey, here's my cookbook. I'd really like you to print it. I think this day and time it's really easy for anybody to self-publish a book, so that's something that I've thought about. I think if what all I wanted to do would be to just compile some recipes to share with family and friends, that'd be definitely the way I'd like to go. But really what I'm going to do in my cookbook is what I hope to do is to tell more stories, and I want to share some of the recipes and foods that I grew up eating. And really, for me, the intent is not so much to say, here are these recipes, I think you're going to like them, they're awesome. But it's more about that I want someone to read the recipe